Hi y'all, welcome to today's video. I've titled this video, Why Narcissism is Rampant in New Age Spirituality. If you've been following my channel or following my path at all, you know that I was deeply involved in the New Age for several years and recently am giving my life over to Jesus Christ. I'm turning to Christianity to heal myself and to find something that is true and real and enduring and lasting. And in this video, I want to share some of the experiences that I've had in the New Age and try to shine a light on why narcissism is rampant within New Age spirituality. First of all, just a little bit of background for me. I didn't know what narcissism was before I got into the New Age. Maybe I had heard the term previous to starting to explore with New Age spiritual modalities, but I didn't really know what it meant. And if you had asked me, like, do you know anybody who's a narcissist? I wouldn't have known how to answer the question. It wasn't until I got into New Age spirituality that I started to realize that I know what a narcissist is, and that I started to have relationships with narcissists. In fact, the romantic or intimate relationships that I had with women while I was in the New Age proved to be relationships with women with very strong narcissistic traits. And this was difficult for me to understand because before I was in the New Age, when I was just like a normie, let's say, I was just some normie, you know, I hadn't had my great awakening. I had relationships with women and they never seemed especially toxic. And I suppose in any ways that they were toxic, it was probably me who was the toxic one. But even in that case, I would generally probably take it kind of easy on myself and say that I doubt I was such a terrible person a lot of the time. I'm sure some of the times I probably was, but it wasn't until I got into the New Age that suddenly I was in relationships that were like overtly toxic. Like, wow, like something is really wrong here. And I'm having a hard time identifying what it is about me. And this has been where I've had to have the awakening into realizing how common narcissism is within New Age spirituality. One of the reasons why I believe narcissism is rampant within New Age is because in the New Age, there's an extreme, I would say, obsessive focus on positivity, positive vibes only, positive thinking only. This is a part of the manifestation culture, like the law of attraction. You know, you attract what your thoughts are, and so therefore, like, only have positive thoughts. Don't be critical. Don't say anything critical. Just think positive, 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 positive. And the way that I imagine the New Age now is it's like a herd of like sheep who are like marching towards a cliff. And they're all about to walk off the cliff together, but they're all saying to each other, like, just be positive, like positive vibes only, like what you think is what you attract, not realizing that, like, hey, like, we're all in this like dangerous situation together because nobody is willing to think critically. Okay? Critical thinking is like a foundation of a healthy society. We have to be willing to ask tough questions. We have to be willing to speak up when something doesn't feel right. But my experiences in the New Age is that is discouraged. Don't think critically. Don't ask difficult questions. Just think positive. And this culture of positive vibes only is the perfect place for a narcissist. Because a narcissist, their worst fear is that they would be exposed or found out for who they really are, underneath the mask that they wear, underneath the mask they present to the world. And so for a narcissist, if they can hide out essentially in an environment or in a community where people are essentially afraid to poke at and to get to the truth, because it's much better just to maintain the illusion of false positivity, then a narcissist can really thrive in an environment like that. They can advance the lie of their false self, of their mask. They can present who they want you to believe that they are to the world, and they won't actually become found out. If they were in an environment where critical thinking was encouraged, they would have a really hard time. they would have a really hard time getting people to believe this idea that they're trying to advance about who they are. And that's what a narcissist really is. They're a false self. They're not in contact with their true self, and so they're advancing this false self into the world, trying to pass it off as who they really are. And the New Age is just so perfect for that, because the New Age is a breeding ground for narcissists to be able to hide in plain sight and to whitewash their image so that they can have everyone believing that they're all light, light and love. 2 Corinthians 11:14 says, Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. So what I've found in my own experiences in the New Age is that there are people who, they appear as an angel of light when you meet them. They seem on the surface to be like, wow, they're so spiritual. They're such a light worker. They're so embodied. It's like only positive things even could be said about them, because look at them, right? However, what you're seeing is it's a false self. It's a whitewashed image that the person is bringing into the world, and usually convincing a whole field of naive people. I say naive because people in the New Age are afraid of the truth. They don't want truth. They would rather have unity. They would rather have peace. They would rather have light and love. Truth is not what's at the forefront within New Age spiritual circles. So what that does is it creates a field of naive people who can be preyed upon and deceived very easily. And I've been one of these people, preyed upon and deceived very easily. And I for the record, I have no one to blame about that but myself. I have to take responsibility for that. But that's part of why I'm making these videos, is to take personal accountability and to share what I've learned in my experiences within the New Age. Because I think it's important that this false paradigm of like the Great Awakening or the New Earth or the Age of Aquarius, like all of these fancy ideas that get passed around in the New Age, try to advance the idea that everything is getting better, right? Like we're on the precipice of the great, like, heralding of the golden era is coming now, and it's us, like we're the ones manifesting it. These sorts of ideas get passed around in the New Age, but these ideas are utter nonsense. It doesn't take a genius to look around and see that, like, things are not getting better here on planet Earth. Like, if anyone is actually like looking around and seeing like what's going on in the world, it would be reasonable to say that like things might be getting worse. Things might be getting worse, and we should definitely not say that things are for sure getting better, because that would just be naive. It would reveal that we have an addiction to this false religion known as New Age spirituality, where we're going to all agree as we march towards that cliff together, we're going to all agree that everything is fine. Everything is fine. This is good. This is as it should be. Just stay positive. And that's New Age spirituality in a nutshell. But the New Age, moreover, is teaching people to believe that they are God. It's not about like the Christian religion, for example, is not teaching people that they are God at all. They're saying, no, you are not God. Jesus Christ is the Son of God, the Most High, and we are here to accept Jesus into our life as our Savior. But we ourselves, unlike Jesus, we are not perfect. Jesus was a perfect man. He did not sin. He did not even have any sinful thoughts. Me, this human speaking to you, is not perfect. I've sinned. I've made mistakes. I have sinful thoughts all the time. And so therefore, I am not God. But the New Age teaches that you are God. The New Age teaches that all of existence is God. So rather than God being the creator of existence, the created itself is God. And since you're a part of what is created, then you are a part of God. You are God. This is the logic in the New Age, and it's a lie. It's not even that it's like an opinion that could be right. No, it's wrong. It's a lie. It's objectively false. But because people believe this, that they are God, you have to understand this is already what narcissists believe about themselves. Like, in a narcissist's false paradigm of who they already believe that they're God. They already believe that they're all powerful, that they're the center of everything. in a narcissist's mind, like everybody else exists just as like they want to imagine that that person exists. So if you're ever around a narcissist will make you feel really, really, really good in their presence as long as you're behaving correctly. As long as you're behaving in accordance with how they think you should behave, with how they imagine who they need you to be in their ideal case scenario in their mind, as long as you're more or less conforming to that projection in their mind, then they're going to make sure that you feel really good in their presence. But if you deviate from that and start to question them or start to push back against their ideology or start to ask them why they did something that really hurt you, when you do that, you're deviating away from their projected idea of who you're supposed to be and the false reality that they live in. And when you do that, you become a target of their abuse because you're no longer conforming to who they need you to be. So this is what narcissists already believe about themselves. They already believe that they are God. And so therefore, New Age spirituality is easily the most compatible spiritual framework for a narcissist to gravitate to. They're not going to gravitate to Christianity, where we're being taught to repent, where we're being taught to accept God the Most High into our lives and pray and ask for help to live a good life. That is not an attractive religion at all for a narcissist. A narcissist wants their grandiose ego to be inflated as much as possible. And New Age spirituality helps with this a lot. New Age spirituality is the religion of narcissism. I would like to posit that this problem of narcissists in the New Age is possibly, I don't think certainly, I hold it as a hypothesis. I wonder, I'm curious if within the New Age that this situation of it being very attractive to narcissists is more a problem with women than it is with men. I'm not sure that I actually believe that. I'm just wondering out loud. And the reason why I say this is because within the New Age, I feel that from my own observation, women have a much easier time inflating their spiritual ego into narcissistic levels than men do. And I'll give you an example of why I mean that. Women in the New Age can refer to themselves as goddesses very easily, right? That's normalized. Like, oh, you're a goddess, you're a divine goddess, we're all goddesses, a goddess retreat, things like this. And I've actually joked about this with a friend of mine before of like, man, could you imagine if men started doing that? Like getting together and like referring to ourselves as gods? Like, I'm a god, like I see you, like you're a god. Like we're gods, you know, we are gods. Like if like men in the New Age, not from what I saw, we're never doing that. That's not to say, by the way, that there are not men who are extremely narcissistic in the New Age. I know they're out there. I've seen them. I'm thinking of some of them in my mind's eye as I say this. So I know for sure that there are narcissistic men in the New Age, undoubtedly. Like wolves, man. Like wolves, they're out there dressed in sheep clothing, leading yoga classes or running medicine ceremonies, or usually they're going to be in a leadership position somehow because they have to be. Remember, in a narcissist's mind, they're the center of everything. So they're going to create spaces for themselves that reinforce that idea that they have about themselves, okay? They're not going to be the fly on the wall. They're not going to be the NPC sitting in the back that paid full retail price for the retreat, just sitting there like hoping to receive a healing. No. The narcissists in the New Age are going to be front and center, holding the space, anchoring it in. They're going to be the ones that look like the most powerful people in the room. But again, remember, 2 Corinthians 11:14, Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light. So I would say yes, of course, it's probably the case that there are just as many narcissistic men in New Age spirituality as there are narcissistic women. But it seems to me that maybe women are kind of like encouraged to be narcissistic more so than men are. Just with all of this like goddess, like when women get together in the New Age, it's all this like goddess worship stuff happening. When men get together, it's more like sadistic, actually, you know? There's more actual like, we're going to bring each other down, not build each other up happening in general. Okay, just painting broad brushstrokes here. I would just say in general, men's work tends to be more humbling, There's even ritual combat of like, we're going to put on boxing gloves and like literally like beat each other up, like literally within New Age men's work. It's more of an iron sharpens iron mentality. Whereas what I see within when women are gathering in the New Age, it's like we are going to like love bomb each other and worship one another so that we can be better at worshiping ourselves. And that's ultimately a very narcissistic approach. Last thing I want to say, I want to read this Bible verse from Romans 1:24 and 25. And I feel that these verses really just hit the nail on the head about what people are doing in the New Age. So it says, therefore, God gave them over in the sinful desires of their hearts to sexual impurity for the degrading of their bodies with one another. They exchanged the truth about God for a lie and worshipped and served created things rather than the Creator, who is forever praised. Amen. And that's really New Age spirituality and narcissism in a nutshell, is that they exchange the truth about God for a lie, and they're worshiping and serving creation, the created things, rather than the Creator. It's like, to me, I see New Age spirituality as like confusing the painting with the painter, of like looking at a Da Vinci painting and thinking like, this is Da Vinci. And it's like, no, like in the same way, like God created the world, but God is not the world. He's the creator. He's the unseen creator. Just like when you go into a museum and you're staring at a Da Vinci painting, Da Vinci himself is unseen. He's not right there. You can't turn around and point and be like, oh, you did this. No. God, the creator, is unseen. And we have a relationship with him through the Holy Spirit and through our faith in his son, Jesus Christ, who walked this earth. Unfortunately, not in our lifetimes. But this is really the major like fatal error in New Age spirituality, is that it's worshiping the creation. And when you worship the creation, you can end up worshiping yourself, and you can worship one another. And rather than being critical of one another and thinking like, wow, it seems like this person is doing things that are hurtful to other people. See, that would be like a normal thought to have in a normal, healthy society. It would be like, hey, when you said that or when you did that, I noticed it made me feel this way. Or I noticed that I felt concerned that you might have been a little bit insensitive towards so-and-so. This would be a way of like critically calling someone out and calling them into being a better human. My own experiences in the New Age is that it's pretty much discouraged to talk like that. Maybe someone would disagree, but to me, in my experiences in the New Age, it was more about like, look, if you've got a problem with something, then you're the problem. And that is gaslighting, my friend. That is spiritual gaslighting. If something isn't sitting right with you, whether it's a shaman or a medicine person that it seems like they might be doing some dark or creepy things, or it's someone who's leading your retreat that kind of like, yeah, they seem like this amazing spiritual person, but gosh, like when I'm around them, I don't feel very good about myself. When there's things like this happening, the gaslighting and the narcissistic abuse that takes place within New Age spirituality will tell you like, oh, you have a problem then. Like you need to work on yourself because you perceived something outside of you as incorrect. Something didn't feel good, something didn't feel right, and it's your fault. And that, my friends, is telltale, hallmark narcissistic abuse. And it's the type of narcissistic abuse that is happening all throughout New Age spirituality. Because in New Age spirituality, the focus is entirely on false positivity and false light. It's all about, hey, just stay positive, think positive. We're going to all continue to advance this illusion of false light. We're going to advance these stories. We're going to tell each other what we want to hear, things that tickle our ears, like the dawning of the new age is here. Things that feel good, that make us feel like we're all a part of this thing that is happening and unfolding, the Great Awakening, and we're a part of it, and it feels so good. But what we're really a part of is a satanic religion. We're a part of lies. We're not actually engaging in the truth. And because narcissists feed on lies, they feed on New Age spirituality. And so when you go to a retreat, whether it's like a yoga retreat or some kind of spiritual retreat, a New Age festival, a medicine ceremony, if you go into any environment that is like a New Age environment, I'm pretty much willing to absolutely guarantee you that there will be narcissists in the field and that they will be wielding a lot of power. That's because it's the narcissists who are soaking up the power that other people are giving away by going into these fields. And we give that power away by putting our discernment, putting our passion for truth and justice and what is real to emerge and to be upheld. We're putting all of that to the side in exchange for light and love, in exchange for unity, in exchange for rainbows and flowers and happy vibes, good vibes only. If you ever see someone wearing a shirt or saying good vibes only, what they're really saying is, I cannot hold the totality of the human experience, which includes difficult times as well as joyous times. I can't hold it all. I'm only here for the good stuff. And so therefore, keep what is real, keep it away from me. I'm living in a false reality where I'm just amplifying only the positive, or what I think is the positive. And anybody who's doing that is quite clearly, I hope I've made the point clearly enough, anyone who's doing that is, they're repressing the truth of the total spectrum of the human experience. So if you're ever around someone and their mindset is like, hey, good vibes only, what they're doing is they're blocking off the part of you that might bring forward something that is difficult for them to look at or to be with. And this is what narcissists do. Narcissists create the conditions where we're gonna play make-believe, and we're gonna pretend that this is who I really am, and you're not allowed to criticize it, you're not allowed to question it, you're not allowed to do anything that runs contrary to this false image that I'm presenting to the world of who I am. And so the good vibes only crew it's essentially a way of advertising that they're a narcissist. If you see someone and they're just like good vibes only, I would say run in the other direction. That person's, they're either naive. In a best case scenario, they're just naive and a little clueless. And in a worst case scenario, they're narcissistic and dangerous to be around. So I think I'm going to leave it there. Stay safe out there. Just because it appears nice, just because it appears like light and love and all good and positive vibes only, just because it seems like a safe space does not mean that there are not predators lurking about, seeking to feed off of naive people who want to put aside what is real and what is true in exchange for what feels good and what looks nice. So yeah, I'll leave it there. Have a beautiful day. God bless you, and thanks for listening.